do-it-yourself 2 days postpartum in the hospital. I wanted to make this video because I don't know if I'll post it, but I wanted to make it for myself and just kind of like share some things about having baby number 2, which we're very, very grateful and happy for. We were able to have. We have a girl, and her name is Soleil. We didn't share the name with anyone, and everybody loves the name, of course. We didn't share our name for our son either, and honestly, the best decision ever. Highly recommend for anybody who's pregnant or wanting to be a mom not to share the name with anyone. And I mean just you and your partner know the name, and that's it. Me and my husband knew the name, and nobody else knew. Like, our parents didn't know, or family or friends, no one knew. And it's just so special because you don't get like the feedback, good or bad. It's usually bad if they don't like the name, but yeah, just something I think is really nice. I wanted to make this video. I'm just going to talk about postpartum. It's obviously like day 2 for me, and I just remember being so stressed out last time. Like, I didn't realize how hard postpartum was going to be. This time around, I prepared so hard for postpartum because I really wanted to set myself up for success. So, like, making sure I have meals. Like, I had like things for me at the hospital even, and I have so many things at home for me now. Like frozen meals, like a lactation consultant, like a sleep consultant, just things that I know I need support on this time around. And if I were to give advice, if you're planning on breastfeeding, you 100% should have a lactation consultant that can come to your home or that you can go see, because it is one of the most like difficult or challenging things for people. And it's one of the first things you go through when you become a mom, is starting to breastfeed. And if it is challenging for you, it can be very heartbreaking, and you are going to feel like you're already failing as a mom, and it's like one of the first tasks you need to do. And I think what a lot of people don't talk about is how challenging it can be for some people. It was for me the first time around, and seems like this time around it's a little bit better and easier. I feel like I can do things that like I didn't do last time because I am prepared. I've done a little bit more research. That would be my number 1 tip, is if you are planning on breastfeeding, to getting a lactation appointment, like prenatally, so like a couple of weeks before you're due, so you can meet with someone and see if, you are on the same page as them, if you like them. Like, again, with my first, I did have a lactation consultant, but I don't think we just kind of aligned. Now looking back, the lactation consultant I have now, I think, is much better for me in terms of fit. And again, like, breastfeeding takes 2, right? The baby and you. And your baby can't communicate. They can't tell you, right? Move me this way. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is the way I'm getting the milk out. This is the way I'm not. So having a lactation consultant that knows what to look for, what are signs of really good, what are signs of, this you shouldn't be doing, it's a bad habit. So highly recommend that. The second thing for me this time around, I did schedule a C-section this time. I was having contractions prior to me going to get the C-section, like the day before, and then a couple of days before as well. I thought I was gonna go into full-on like labor and go to the hospital before my C-section, like the day before, but that didn't happen. My contractions just kind of went away, and we just came in the next day and I had a C-section. It was definitely a weird feeling having a C-section schedule. It's really hard to say, because you come in and it's like you're going to like pick up takeout. It's very calm. You get checked in, like, you place your order in, like it's gonna be ready at 8 a.m. Like, you change your clothes and then you go into the OR. They give you fluids and give you a spinal, which I also didn't know. With a scheduled C-section, you get a spinal, not an epidural. So an epidural goes into a different place in your spine, from what I understand. So it has a spinal. So a spinal is just like a shot in and out. Think of it like a dentist injection, versus an epidural is like continuous, like administering of the medicine. So the tube stays in your body, and so they can administer the medication. So a little bit different. I think the recovery for me is better with a scheduled C-section than when I had my C-section the first time, because it was kind of emergency, right? And I did have the epidural with my first one because I came in, I was laboring and it was painful. I asked for an epidural, and that's when like they put the epidural in and the heart rate of my son dropped significantly, so they had to like take me to the OR. But this time around I'm feeling really good. I felt I was a little bit nauseous after the medication the first day. It was like hard for me to keep stuff down, like starting with water, couldn't keep water down, so that was hard, because you like need fluids to live and then breastfeed as well. So I did get a bag of fluids, kind of like in the afternoon, I think, yesterday, or sorry, even in the morning, like post-op. Usually you don't get fluids after Pitocin. Pitocin after the surgery to prevent hemorrhaging and making sure that the uterus is contracting and getting smaller. I didn't know that Pitocin was administered to like contract the uterus smaller. I thought it was given to like contract it to make it bigger, but I guess it's used for both in terms of inducing labor, as well as after labor, especially with a C-section. But yeah, it was interesting. You get into the OR, you lay on the table, 5 minutes after they get started, they take the baby out, and then it takes like the other 45 minutes to put you back together, which is like just wild. It takes more time for them to like get you back in order than just take the baby out. But my doctor is great. He was like super slow at getting her out, meaning like took the head, took the like one shoulder, and he was like telling me, I'm just taking her shoulder out, taking the other shoulder out. So it's not like he just like ripped her out of me, which I really appreciate, because then the incision is smaller, the healing is faster, etc. For my incision, I haven't really looked at it, but he does use, I believe, like inside stitches and then glue outside. With my first, like, I had a scar, but I never saw it. Like, it healed really well. So I'm hoping this will be the same. He's an amazing doctor, so just make sure you have a great doctor. Like, he doesn't use like stitches outside or staples. I've heard of staples as well. Yeah, he doesn't do that. So he really takes care of like mama, making sure she's good to go. And then yeah, she like came out and she was like crying right away, like getting all the fluid out of her like mouth, which was great. They like wrapped her up. She was kind of like crying and vocal, like which was really good. I was happy to see that. I scheduled my C-section right at 40 weeks because I was getting really uncomfortable. And I was saying to my husband, like, I was like, this baby's bigger. Like, she's bigger than our son was. She came out a pound and some bigger than him. For a girl, which I was like, that's interesting. But I could feel how much bigger she was, like, in my body. Like, that extra pound, I think, was a lot because it was a lot of pressure on my pelvis. It was a lot of pressure on my ribs. Like, she would, like, push against my ribs on the right side all the time. She wasn't like she kicked me, of course, but didn't kick as much as my son did. My son would have like martial arts practice on a daily basis inside of me, like kicking crazy. And she had like her moments, but never crazy. She's much more chill, which makes me happy. And she's been eating really well, peeing and pooping, which is great. So today's day 2 post-op. So today's Wednesday, she was born on Monday, and we're going home because I really wanted to go home. I just like my bed, like my things. But you can stay in the hospital for up to 3 nights, I think, if you have a C-section, so they don't like kick you out. Yeah, I mean, it's been really great. I think this postpartum experience with having an easier time breastfeeding is kind of like healing me from my first postpartum experience, because, sorry, I'm not crying. My eyes are just watering because I'm tired. The first time it was really hard, and my son's levels in terms of like bilirubin were a bit too high. So it was just like all stressful. This time around, I think I'm more anxious because like that was my first experience. I don't say I'm more anxious, but I'm just thinking like, is she getting enough food? Is she making sure she's like peeing enough? Is her bilirubin like level okay? Like, is she okay there? And I think the nurses are like she's good, like relax. And I'm glad that the pediatrician that came in today, he actually was really nice and kind. We didn't have a really good experience with the pediatrician that was here for my son when I gave birth my first time. But the ones that I saw here this time, they were like really nice, and again like made me reassured that I shouldn't be worried. Which again, I think as a first-time mom, if you are a first-time mom, when a pediatrician is making you more anxious and telling you like, if you don't do this, your baby's gonna die. If you don't do this, like your baby's gonna have all these complications, it's not reassuring at all for the mom. I kind of understand why they need to maybe give you the risks, but it's really hard to hear like things like that when you're so raw postpartum, because you're exhausted. And you obviously like don't know the level of exhaustion the first time around. Like now you understand. So I just think having a kind pediatrician that you see at the hospital is very important, that has a really good like bedside manner. Because if they don't have really good bedside manner, it can be difficult, which it was for me. So again, like I think this time around, this postpartum experience is like healing me from the first time. Yeah, so I wanted to say that. And it's kind of like a long video, but I really mean for it, yawning and needing to start over. I just wanted to make this video longer because I think, I didn't know if there's like a lot of videos out there about like really like postpartum, like the first 48 hours to 72 hours, like before you go home. So I just wanted to have that. And if your experience is different, like maybe breastfeeding is so easy for you, that's amazing, and like don't take that for granted, but also just know it's not everybody's experience. And if your breastfeeding experience is hard, or if you don't want to breastfeed at all, again, don't take that for granted. Like it's just your choice. It's your baby. That's the most important thing. Like the decisions you make are for your baby. And it doesn't really matter what anybody says, because it's your baby. If they want to make decisions, they can have their own baby. So that's the update for now. I'm just actually waiting for like a physical therapist to come in to like help me with maybe like showing me some moves to do like while my incision is healing, which is really interesting. They offered that. I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Like, who doesn't want to like know how to get out of bed properly without pain? And my pain has been actually pretty good in terms of like pain management. Yeah, so just like great experience overall, and wanted to get this on camera. Hopefully this helps someone if I post it out there. But yeah, thanks guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.